fund. Go down the list here. These are all on this page as line item transfers. The first one is just transferring a little bit of money there from postage into dues and travel. In-service staff development. The next one under county buildings, moving money from contracts and private agencies into those 4 areas. Contracted services, food supplies, office supplies, and equipment. Third one, line item transfer again, moving money from postage and in-service into communication, medical services, and office supplies. Questions on those? Okay, page 2, still moving forward, line item transfers. First one looks long, but that's because when we brought on the IT personnel, we put it under the category 51900, which is general administration. Since then, I've spoken with state audit, and they'd like us to go ahead and put it under 52600. So that's just moving all his personnel line items over to the 52600, which is a data processing IT budget. The second one is juvenile court. This is a request to move some money from insurance and savings in to pay out some overtime, and a change in personnel there led to an increase in a little bit of longevity pay, and then the retirement that goes along with that. Any questions on that page?
I do.
Yes, sir.
What's the 51,900 top line?
Say that at which one?
51,900 top line.
51900 is general administration, so that's where we approved the IT personnel budget into at the last meeting. So we're moving it from general administration into 52600, which is data processing IT.
Okay. The first one just throwed me where it said clerical personnel.
We basically,
I didn't know whether we took on another clerk or
No.
what.
no, it's the same
That's my
person.
question.
Yeah, we just moved his budget from one function to another per the chart of accounts from the state.
Okay. That's all I have.
Third page, line item transfers on all this as well. The first one, Sheriff's Office, just moving some money from Social Security, Medicare, some savings from taxes, and then moving some money from cost centers and equipment and supplies into those areas you see, office equipments, maintenance agreements, medical services, uniforms, law enforcement. The second one, the jail, they're going a little over on drugs and medical supplies, so we're simply moving $5,000 from one line item to another. Third one is the EMA, other emergency management, moving, basically it's a cost center adjustment. With the dispatch program, we're just moving money from communication equipment into communication like phone lines, and then he's got a $50 transfer from office equipment to legal notices. And the last one on that page, that's the EMS, moving $1,500 from communication equipment into travel and medical dental. Any questions on any of those? Okay, page 4 is speaking to new money or new grants. The first one up there, this is a new grant. We received this grant a few years ago. We did not get one last year, but they wrote up one. We're getting a $101,000 administration of the courts security grant for them. It's 100% funded, so that is simply bringing it in through revenue, and will go towards courthouse security grant. Ethan Gray and April Turner are working on that. We're working on bid specs right now to get that going in the courthouse.
Who named that AOC?
That's a statement. All right, second one, we just had another court order judgment for inmate mental health evaluation, $800 invoice. I am able to offset that with the interest income that we're receiving in excess of budget. The third one is an insurance recovery, we had 2 incidents with vehicles, one a deer, one the ice snowstorm, offsetting that with the insurance money that we've already received. Fourth one on there, Sheriff's Office. When we started the budget, we didn't have the LBL Forest Service money in there. We just got, actually today, I just got the signed contract back, so just adding that money into his budget for the $35,000 for the current year. They did that last year as well. And then the last one on there is libraries. They got a couple donations, and just moving a small postage charge into licenses, the motor vehicles, and the other supplies and materials. Any questions on any of those? Page 5 is the last one for me. The one at the top, that is simply We had a carryover last year of $1950 that wasn't used in the medical center awning grant, so we're moving that into this year's budget. And then the awning itself came in higher, so the state approved to move money they had put in the grant for equipment, moving it into the awning. So that is basically straight from what the state is asking on the grant. The second one, DGA grant, which is the medical center grant that they use mainly for the personnel there, they've increased that. For interpretation services, that has had a huge increase of interpretation services they need at that facility. So state
What do you mean interpretation?
means when they're speaking to people, non-English speaking people, they have to have somebody on the phone, and typically
And we have that many?
the bills have been coming in at a few $1,000s a month. So they increased it $15,000 for that, yeah.
Open border hitting Stewart County.
Tourism is the third one. That is insurance recovery on the visitor center. Damage that was due to that vehicle accident back in November of '23. I'll actually have to increase it another $2,000 on the next meeting because we had one more expense, but that's being reimbursed by the insurance company. And the fourth one, that's our 3-star grant that we get every year. Ms. Margie oversees that one. It's going to be another $50,000 grant this year, and she'll be working with the school system on different equipment. Last year, I think they did a lot of welding equipment for the school system. And then the last one, this is one that was not on your original agenda. The assessor reached out to me today. She has, state came in last week, I guess, and their computers are still, if I'm speaking correctly, on Microsoft 7. So they have to move that up to 11. So she got a quote for 2 GIS screens. Her GIS is her mapping system in the office, as well as 4 computers. A little under $3,000, but I went ahead and budgeted $3,000, and we can offset that with interest income, but she says that's mandatory. She's got to have it for state requirements to upgrade that, and she does not have it in her current budget. And that would be it for me. The next 2 are schools. Any questions on any of mine?
Done asking.
With that?
I done asking. Mr. Craig, you gonna come talk to us about service?
Yes, sir. We have 2 amendments. First is we're going to hit the fund balance for $1.1 million to go into building construction. This is going to be offset by the ESI loan, which y'all approved earlier in the year for us to take out. So it has a 0 effect on our fund balance. We have to get the money in our funds where we can pay. We've already started some of the projects, so we got to pay the contractors.
Can I ask what's the construction?
Oh, we're doing the new well house at the, there were a number of things that were in the big project that Train presented that we're doing. So we've got that going on. We've got new fixtures in the bathrooms, in the schools, things like that. And then on the second one, we received in December a TISA from the state outcomes payment of $133,000, and we just put that into the budget for teachers, instructional equipment, and done some repairs and service on the annex.
Anybody got any questions?
And the school board approved these minutes.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Ms. Watts, you want to tell us what you're getting here?
The amendments that I have here, there was one that did not show up on the copy that you guys received, so I don't know how you want to handle that, but I'll go ahead and explain what you guys have. We got a grant for the pandemic cards that we have to help distribute out to households, and they gave us like a grant for us to cover that for the extra expense work that we have. So we're moving that money over to the salary line for me. And that's also to help cover cafeteria personnel at the end of the year. We wanted, that's what's not on there for you guys. We wanted to give a longevity pay raise to, not a pay raise, but a longevity one-time type of payment to our staff. And that is not on there. That's the part that we're missing, but it did get approved through the board. So that would have been about $10,000 for that. And then we had food service equipment, that's $590,000 that we're covering, that, is coming from that 600,000. I know that it says 600, does it say 600 on yours? But if you take off the 10 that we wanted to allow for the longevity pay, it would bring it down to 590. The 600,000 was excess funds. We had to, I have to submit every year to the state exactly what we're gonna do with our excess funds. So we replaced the freezer here at Dover Elementary, we replaced several pieces of equipment, and we still have several pieces that we have to replace this year. So that's what that 590 would cover. So do you guys have any questions? I don't know how y'all want to handle it. I can come back.
Well, for clarification, could I just go
Yeah,
through the
sure.
debits and credits just to make sure, because since the agenda itself is not going to reflect what she has, if the committee's fine with it, I can read the changes, and if that's approved, then I can, Mark or myself can address that in the commission. Okay. So the first two lines are identical, the 3,256. Her third line, that is the same. The fourth line, instead of reading the one that says account number 143-73100-710 for food service equipment, instead of being 600,000, that would be 590,000. And then, like she said, then she'd have an added line there, 143-73100-165 is cafeteria personnel, and that would be the $10,000, still making the total $603,256 even.
Everybody good with that? We will approve it after this next page.
And yes, I said I didn't have any more, and I do have one more lesson.
Yeah, this long on.
This marries up with with Director Craig had just said, this is the ESI loan. Because the school is not allowed to issue debt under themselves, it has to go through our office, so I'm the one working with the state. So that is just showing that the revenue that would be coming in from the state, the $1,171,000, and then we would be contributed over to the school, and that's where you would see their expenses show up on their budget.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion, sir.
And a second? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Who seconded that?
Me.
Okay, thank you.
Colonel Peter.
Is there anything else to come before this committee? Hearing nothing, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Do I have a second? Did you second?
I called that one.
Okay. Please stand adjourned.